Hello and welcome. My name is HyperOne, and tonight I'll be casting a replay sent in to me by a user on my Discord server. The link is in the description. On the bottom left hand corner we have the red Zerg player, KrygsmAn. I'm just gonna call him... what do I call him? Krieg? Okay, sure. On the bottom right hand corner we have the blue Protoss player, Violet. I believe it is Violet who sent in this replay. So, let's see what's going on. Looks like a pool first with a gas after. I apologize in advance if I seem tired in today's cast. I've been on a really long homework grind, so yeah. OBS is telling me my mic is a little bit loud, so we'll have to see if that's a problem in a bit. Finally, the hatchery will be taken. This is a really weird build order coming out. There's barely any drones. We are only now just putting drones on gas. This is overall just... this does not seem like a very efficient build order coming out of the Zerg player. And like you got the hatchery and pool really quickly, but to what end? It doesn't appear that... okay, we've got 2 Zerglings out, 2 more Zerglings are on the way, and I'm not sure what Krieg is trying to do with them. It's gonna be a double gate and a cyber core, of course. Second gas is now taken. Seem pretty standard now. First Overlord will eventually make its way over here. That's a hell of a scout path. I'm not sure it's... gotta go all the way here and then... okay. First unit, Zealot, of course. Probe will scout that the natural hatchery is only now just being finished up, which is a really late hatchery. Violet should know this. But does she respond? How is she gonna respond? She's gonna respond by making 2 more Zealots. The link speed is only now just halfway done. Queen is now out. Looks like these will be sent across the... no, they will not be sent across the map. So we're just sitting here with a really fast pool and 6 lings, and we're not sure what they're gonna be used for. Another 2 lings here, and there's 6 lings on the way for a total of 14 lings, and 2 more queens on the way. Proxy gateway will be hidden here, and I do not believe Krieg sees this. Okay, looks like it is a Twilight Council. And I thought Violet was about to put down a robo. Oh wow. Okay, so I do believe... did Krieg scan it? Did Krieg scout the natural? I don't think they did, but somehow they knew that this gateway was here. Anyway, so far a pretty low eco game coming out of both players. Only now will the natural Nexus be taken for the Protoss player, and 3 Zealots and a Stalker are out, which is not going to be... I mean, you can defend up on the ramp with this army, but if the Zerglings just run in here, you have to forfeit that low ground. Charge will be the first thing on the way, and as well as Templar Archives. Now, if you in the audience are not aware, Violet has a build where she gets out a really fast storm. Usually this is like 1 minute before, but looks like Templar Archives is kind of late this game. Forge on the low ground. 1 Zergling will see that there is a Nexus. That is a lot of links. Lair on the way on 2 bases. and the second gas will be taken. So far, Krieg seems to have been wanting to play a very aggressive game, or at least a very safe game. The early pool is something you only get if you're... The early pool is something you get in order to make Zerglings early. Maybe... And the early queens don't really compensate for the fact that your hatchery is a bit later. But then they made the really fast pool and they didn't really do anything with it. Okay, the Zerglings will come in. I don't know that this is a... I don't know that this is a good fight. Oh, never mind. Okay, this is an alright fight for the Zerg player. Oh, that Archon will go down. And suddenly there's nothing here to defend this. Two more Zealots will be warped in. Okay, and this will be held, but at what cost? A pretty big one. So overall, very efficient trade for Krieg. Because, like, they just came in here with all the Zerglings, and there simply was not a low ground wall of any sort or a wall. If this pylon was like separated one more unit off of Nexus, you could have put the units into a choke here and protected them that way, but no, instead it's gonna be... Now Krieg is almost double the supply of Violet, and this is about to be another huge Zergling wave that Violet should be spotting. Is she looking? She is... Okay, okay, these Lings should totally just come in here and destroy this. Instead, it's gonna be a third base on the low ground. Or what am I saying? Not on the low ground, on the vertical third, and a fourth base over here. So now that Krieg has established a considerably large army, we are now going to play pretty greedy by double expanding, and then we're also going to get two Spire. No, that's not a Spire, that's an Evo Chamber. A Spire and an Evo Chamber. As well as making a lot more Zerglings and some Overlords. Because we are in supply block town right now. Man, if these Zerglings just went in there earlier, this game might already be over, but instead, gonna be a wall on this side. Interesting wall off. It's gonna be a photon cannon and a pylon over here. Creep spread, despite the number of queens that have been like produced, there's 3 queens. Why are they all at this base? 2 more queens on the way. Despite the fact that there are 3 queens, there's only 1 creep tumor out, and this creep tumor could have been like spread over here a long time ago. So not the best attention to creep spread, but the 2 extra hatcheries are gonna be done, and Violet does not know that those bases exist. Currently even on workers, but Krieg is doubling the army supply, albeit in these cheap units like mostly Zerglings and a few Hydras. If the Archons can just avoid getting surrounded, those Zerglings will die those Zerglings are very vulnerable. Especially now that +1 is done, these Archons should be able to get rid of those Zerglings very quickly with their splash damage and their bonus against biological units, which makes them very good against Zerg units of all sorts, but especially Zerglings. Storm is of course done, as well as Charge. The only upgrade done on the Zerg side is Metabolic Boost for Zerglings. Now Violet's gonna come in here, and she hasn't scouted ahead of time, but there's not enough creep. Okay, okay, this is... Oh, yeah, those Zealots are getting surrounded, but most of the Zerglings will be forced to retreat. And yeah, I don't know that you can... this look at this sort of awkward micro where you use 2 other Archons to push the Archon that's morphing, so you can't just jump on it while it's morphing. 3rd Nexus on the way. And only now will Krieg try to leverage his significant advantage in base count by producing drones. So now we have 17 drones, in addition to the 41 that are currently in existence, for a total of 58. But I think, okay, this is not... This is an interesting queen setup. 3 on 1 base, 2 here, 4 more here for a total of 10 queens, and yet this is not the best creep spread. Alrighty then. So an observer will be brought over to clear out the creep, and these zealots will get to work. What is Kryg's response? Kryg is not going to engage. Violet will take a step up that ramp. Oh, target the hatchery. That is an... I'm not sure what targeting the hatchery accomplishes, but this zealot does get out of there alive, and it just got that there is a Mutalisk. Mutalisk obviously not being the best units to make against Archons and High Templar, but well, we'll see how it works out. Once again, Kryg doubling the supply of Violet. But okay, and now that there are this many lurkers coming out, no, you cannot fight that with Archons and High Templar. Get out of there. Oh, and that Archon might be dead. Come on. Oh, if you just stepped past that sight blocker, you'd have been that Archon would have made it. So Violet will go back home, and a 4th base has been finished up here. So now Violet is actually even on bases with Kryg, actually ahead, because Zerg wants to be 1 base ahead. And not only that, but we are still not leveraging. There has not been much worker production from either side. Only now will Violet start producing 4 probes at a time off of these bases, after having been stuck on 43 probes for a long time. We are now transitioning into Stargate tech. Just 3 Stargates on the way. So with this investment into lurkers, Stargate is just a really handy way to sidestep the fact that there are these things on the ground which none of your gateway units can easily beat. And I don't think that Violet can mass enough immortals off of one robo to deal with these lurkers. So instead, we are just gonna make the full transition to into Sky Toss, and 111 is done with only +2 attack done for the Protoss player. But these lurkers and these Hydras do not have the speed upgrade, which means they're going to be very vulnerable to being bullied by these Psy Storms for the time being. Hydras will advance forward. I don't think it's a good idea it is not easy to engage as either side here. Especially because oh god. Is it gonna... okay. All the Zealots will go down in exchange for a few Archons. The Archon strat is... I mean, Violet's build is really centric around having the Storm out early. So naturally you'd build a lot of Archons. But the Archons, while they do quite a bit of damage, they're also very expensive to make. And they especially don't do well against these lurkers, which are these very high damage, longer ranged siege units. So walking into it is not a good idea. And the lurkers will find this base, and yep, that Nexus is dead. You can't save that Nexus. There is no saving that Nexus. Sorry, Violet. 66 lings on the way, and suddenly Kryg has a 143 army supply versus 51, but it's most of it is in Zerglings. But the carriers will now arrive just in time, and okay, no, you do not want to engage Archons and High Templars who would choke with Zerglings, and oh god, the storms will blanket these lurkers, but the Archons will be forced to retreat. Honestly, the decision making from both sides in this game has been puzzling so far. I'm honestly not sure how to comment on this, but lurkers will go down. Lurkers will go down because obviously they can't shoot up. Hydras are all gone, and now we're stuck with a crap ton of Zerglings. That could have been drones. It really could have been drones. You could be mining on 4 full bases right now with an 80 or more drone economy, and Kryg could just be winning this game, but instead we are dealing with a Skytoss transition, and we have Corruptors. Corruptors that are just going to go straight across the map with no form of support whatsoever. Krieg now has 70 drones, which is better than what was there before. Oh my god. Oh, of course, you're gonna bring the Corruptors, and the first thing you make Corruptors to deal with carriers, and the first thing you try to kill is the Warp Prism. This is not enough Corruptors to actually kill anything. Let's take a look at the upgrades. We have +1 air weapons versus no upgrades at all for the Corruptors, which means the high base armor of the Corruptors is actually not pulling its weight because of how upgraded these carriers are. Oh. Fourth base will go down again for Violet. This game just feels so slow, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm tired, or if this game is definitely on faster speed, but these units just feel like they're moving so slowly. Oh no. Okay, that Nexus is gonna get cancelled, and a lot of pylons are gonna go down. Cancel the gas. Okay, no cancel on the gas. That's okay though, because we have a pretty large. Okay, this carrier fleet is now at six carriers and 4 High Templar, 1 Archon. We are also not making more carriers for some reason. Are we transitioning to ground or something? What some players will do against a Zerg player who goes for Spire is they will make 1 air unit and try to force out an overreaction in Corruptors. And then they transition back into the ground. That is centered, isn't it? I swear my eyes are just lying to me today. Anyway, the idea is that you bring out a couple air units and you make the Zerg sort of panic, and +2 air weapons is done, +3 air weapons, +3 air weapons on the way for Protoss, +1 air carapace is also done on the way for Zerg with +1 air weapons already done. That's a lot of Corruptors. I believe that is 21 Corruptors versus 6 carriers with 3 more on the way and 5 more Corruptors on the way for the Zerg player. So the carriers will not do well. Carriers need the High Templar to protect them with Storm, and that's where these Lurkers and Zerglings come in. Okay, well that's where there should have been more Lurkers, but instead all the Zerglings are just going to storm to death, all the Corruptors are going to storm to death, and okay, that is not okay. No. Okay, we do not quite have enough. Okay, we do not quite have enough storms to deal with these Corruptors, but on their own. But that is okay. Is it? I'm not too sure about that trade. The Zerg player did lose all of their Corruptors, but we also lost a very expensive carrier fleet and a lot of High Templar. Overall, losses are looking pretty even on both sides, with Krieg having lost slightly more. But I mean, the Zerg player is just okay. We have our 5th base over here. Krieg is continuously denying Violet from getting any more bases. Well, not really, because there's a 5th base up here. Does Krieg know? Krieg doesn't even know that this. So Krieg thinks that they're denying the 4th base for Skytoss, and Skytoss really needs those the 4th base in order to start pumping out a lot of those expensive carriers and whatnot. But Krieg is not denying this base because Krieg doesn't even know that base exists. So instead, while we just yeet our entire like Zergling army up here and lose them to things that the Zerglings can't even shoot, Violet is just growing down the other side, and now Krieg will finally take all the bases on their side of the map. So when this hatchery is almost halfway done. Upgrades: 111 for ground, 1-1 for air, and +2 for ground, +1 shields, +2 air weapons. We're not getting air armor, which is interesting. This against Corruptors, air armor doesn't help a whole lot. Of course, it's not just about the fact that you get 1 more point of armor. It's the fact that like having that 1 more point of armor allows you to take 1 or 2 more hits from the Corruptors, which is like a bigger deal, especially when they have the potential to just one-shot a carrier. Corruptor fleet coming down the left side of the map again. 21 of them versus 7 Corruptors. Though most of them are a good number of them are at home. So Krieg will finally realize that this base exists. So what are you gonna do with these Corruptors? Are you gonna? Oh, we're just gonna use caustic spray on the Nexus, and there's no saving this. Carrier fleet will arrive with the High Templar. No, you gotta pull back. You gotta engage with the High Templar. Okay, storms will be blanketed on the Corruptors. Corruptors will sit on the carriers, so it's not easy. It's either you storm the Corruptors and the carriers, or you storm neither of them, which is good for the Corruptors. So it puts the... Oh wait, what the... Hang on a second. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm an idiot. So Protoss has +3 air weapons right now, and Zerg only has +1 air armor, which means that those Corruptors are not nearly as tanky. They hit hard, but they're not tanky, which is why all of them went down without too much of a fight. This entire game has just been this Zerg player just not making workers, and all of their queens are just in this weird position. This queen should be here. Oh, there is a queen there. There's no queen here. There is no queen here. So the injections are... How many larvae do we have? We have 55 larvae, but once all those larvae get used up, they're not going to be replenished. Zerglings coming down on this side again. They're going to try to deny this base. But we are back up to 6 carriers for the Protoss player, 10 High Templar. And as we all know, for the billionth time in this game, Zerglings do not do well against Zerglings do not do well against Storm. These Corruptors do not do well against Storm or these carriers. But oh my god, they still hit hard, so the carriers will go down quickly. But so do the Corruptors. Excuse me. I've been sneezing a lot today. Zerglings, carriers died, so cannons will have to take care of the rest of the Zerglings. These ones over here will be slowly dealt with, but not before dealing inflicting a considerable amount of economic damage. So far we've killed 62 probes this game, which is, oh, interesting. Full cannon wall on this north side. That is a full wall, and Zerg player would need to break that down, but how are you going to do that when there's 5 cannons shooting at you? And I don't believe there's a Baneling nest either, so it's not like you're going to get Bane busted. Overall, interesting adaptation to the Zergling run mines, which have been very frequent this game. Cheeky corner base coming out of Krieg at like after 22 minutes into the game. I don't think Violet knows about it. Nope, she does not. Corruptors show up again, and this time they still do not have more upgrades. Okay, carriers are just gone again. The thing about Corruptors is even if you're a bit down on upgrades relative to the Protoss player, Corruptors still hit hard. So, like, Corruptors are tanky and also hit carriers very hard, but if you remove the tankiness element by having more upgrades than they do, they still hit hard. So where did we recall those characters to? We recalled them right next door. The Corruptors will hunt them down. I don't think there's any saving these carriers. Okay, Stalkers will be warped in. Oh, these are slow warp-ins. Stalkers will be warped in to deal with the Corruptors, which cannot shoot down. 26 Hydralisks on the way for Krieg. And suddenly the army supplies are once again not looking very good for Violet, who has been struggling to stay above 100 supply this entire game because of these Corruptors. The Zerglings continuously denying the base. Krieg is still on 62 workers. It's this bank could be like way bigger, and Krieg could have enough money to just headbutt all over this Protoss side of the map and just win the game. But instead, we are not doing that. We barely have enough gas because we dumped it all in the Corruptors. So we only have minerals, and minerals only make Zerglings and drones. But we've already decided that drones are not on the menu today. So we're just going to make Zerglings and run them into High Templar and get them all stormed, and they're going to die and they're not going to do anything. That was a bitter assessment of the game coming out of me. I digress. The Hydra Corruptor Ball will show up to avenge the fallen 5th base, but the Corruptors are there for mortal support. Zealot flailing away at one of the larvae. That is 10 armor, so it's not easy to kill. Did you know that, by the way? Larvae have 10 armor. That's why they're practically impossible to kill with things like marines. Hear little buzzing sounds of the generators on this map. What's in these tubes? Some kind of weird biology experiment gone wrong. Follow these zerglings. There's gonna be another run by. Void. We are finally making void rays and not carriers. Void rays should deal with the. Void rays will utterly obliterate the corruptors. They will not do so great against the Hydralisk, but that's okay because we have Storm and a few zealots. Cannon wall, good idea, but when the opponent just walks around and goes in the other direction, the cannons are suddenly not so useful. Zealots are gonna engage on their own instead of making it a team effort. Void Rays realize that the Zealots made a terrible mistake and will decide to actually wait for the High Templar before engaging. But that engagement might not happen as a Zerg player just slithers back out of there. And wow, this game is just so weird on low eco. +2 melee and ranged weapons from the Zerg, and finally Hydra Speed and Hydra Range are done researching. Come on, blanket, storm blankets. Yes, there you go. Oh my god. And those HP bars, every color of the fall, every color of I can't English, but lots of damage is what the point is. More cannons. I'm not sure that cannons are the right investment with this amount of money. I think we should definitely see some more zealots and archons. This is Hydra Ball is gonna make pretty short work of just a few cannons. Hydra is moving in. Oh, is that a right click move? And we're eating all the storms. Okay. Wow, that was a disgusting. What is this queen walk? Why are you queen walking at 28 minutes into the game? Oh my god. Speaking of queen walking, look at this creep spread has not spread past this part of the map for the entire game. Does Violet know? Violet still does not know that this. Okay, we are finally gonna come to our senses and realize that there's probably a base up here, so we are going to attack it. Queen's deciding they have nothing better to do at this point in time than to just sit over in the middle of the map instead of injecting larvae into any of these bases that oh so depend on their nourishment. But we do have 90 larvae. Question is, what are we going to make out of them with only mineral? Okay, we are just going to make a crap ton of zerglings. We've mined out the gas on almost... Okay, we've mined out the gas on 3 of these bases. Zealots will come in, start to take out this hatchery. And suddenly these zerglings really should pop out faster, or they are never going to save this hatchery. Yeah, that hatchery's dead. +2 ground pace and +2 air weapons are done for the Zerg player. We're now working on +2 air carapace and +3 ground weapons from the Protoss player. There's a massive Zergling run by coming up again. Are you gonna run to the main? Come on, run to the main. Don't stop here, run to the main. Oh my god, where are you? There's like nothing here to kill. Just go into the main. Okay, yeah. And storms, and that's how you lose a lot of Zerglings. And what is up with this Zerg player just making crap tons of Zerglings just to lose them to Storm the entire game? Like, Krieg has been... I won't say that Krieg has necessarily been playing well, but the fact that Krieg has managed to, like, that they've managed to amass such an army just such an overwhelming army has allowed them to take like overall positive trades in their favor despite like the relatively lacking unit compositions. But once both sides are even and you just start throwing away all your minerals on stuff that could have been drones, that could have been mining gas on these bases before you lost them. Yeah, pure mineral units do not do well against storm. Like marines don't do well against storm, zerglings don't do well against storms, hellions don't do well against storms. I mean, zealots, I don't know, like zealots doing well against, I'm not really sure how to describe that. It's weird, but zerglings just are not the answer to this. Both sides noticeably starting to run out of income as the mineral income drops to about 1,000 minerals per minute and 300 gas per minute for both sides. We're now long distance mining these minerals. Zealot hit squad will come back up to this base, and that hatchery is going to get denied again. Do you have any army to contest it? The bottom tab says we do, but where are the zerglings? Where are the 20 zerglings, 17 hydras, 10 queens, and 1 corruptor when you actually need them? Honestly, if Violet just moves across the map and just moves on this and storms the hell out of it, she just wins this game. Oh wait, those are broodlords. Oh, that explains where all the supply came from. Okay, broodlords. Broodlords when the opponent has 7 void rays with +3 air weapons is not a good idea, by the way. Oh my god. And once again, because there is 0 creeps set on this map, we are gonna queen walk. And this time it's not even, they're not even gonna be alone. The broodlords are just as slow. So we are slowly gonna, okay, do we know that there are cannons here? We don't even know that there are cannons here, but it turns out they're gonna be real useful for dealing with those cannons anyway. 5 lurkers are being morphed, and Violet does not know that this, okay, you should know that this exists now. Come on, Violet. Stop paying attention to the Zealot hit squad and start paying attention to the fact that there is a suspicious red dot that is growing into more red dots, that is growing into a huge red clump on the right, on the bottom left corner of your territory. Violet will move her army over to deal with it. No, she will not. And this hatchery's dead. Turns out 6 zealots are really good when there's freaking nothing to fight them. And these broodlords and lurkers will start chipping away at the cannons. Half of them go down. What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for 3 more void rays? Or do we even get flux veins this game? We do not even have flux veins right now. Krieg will produce 44 more zerglings, like they're gonna do anything. And these zerglings have just not been, like at the start of the game the zergling surrounds were huge, but then okay, no, those lurkers need to die. Everything else will die, which is good. But the lurker needs to die. Okay, never mind. That was a fucking engagement coming out of Krieg, who is now at 6-13. Finally, this game will finally be over. And your winner is Hoot Violet. Or I think that's hot. That should be hot, but it looks like Hoot. I'm tired, so I'm gonna say Hoot. Now, overall, just what even happened that game? Really terrible trades coming out of the Zerg player towards the end. I mean, you're gonna make a pool. Oh god, can this replay be over? Why? Okay, Violet finally leaves the game. 35 minutes and 10 seconds. And it's a lot of Zerglings lost to Storms this game. As a Zerg player, if you want to beat a Protoss player who really likes using Storm, don't make Zerglings. Make as many Zerglings as you want. But the second the High Templars show up, you gotta get out of there. Because Zerglings are even more fragile than Marines, and Marines have a hard time dealing with Storm. So yeah, lots of Zerglings just thrown away for nothing. Lots of Corruptors. The Corruptors would have done great if had they had their upgrades. So the Zerg player had this really early pool, and this super low supply hatchery, which just completely screwed up the build order, made a crap ton of Zerglings kind of late, not even getting Ling speed, and then when they had the advantage in Lings, they just ran up and killed everything, and then never did it again, even though they could have done it. And the rest of the game was the Zerg player not capitalizing on their advantage. If like the Zerg player was basically ahead for the entire game, had Krieg simply just made some freaking drones, gone up to 90 workers, and just send wave after wave of I don't even care if it's Zerg. I don't even care if it's a Ling Hydra and you lose it all. You'll be mining so much. You'll be forcing Violet to trade enough units that she can't get back into the game. Because this space denial was this space denial coming out of Krieg was honestly not bad. That's how you win games as Zerg. One of the big ways to win games as Zerg versus Protoss and Terran is you just use these like high damage those fragile units like Zerglings and Hydras, but they're really fast and they do lots of damage. You just run around the map, chip at their extreme extremities in their territory, continuously deny their bases, force them to trade their army, and you'll be winning with your economic advantage. But instead, not only did we not capitalize on our economic advantage, but we also just took terrible trades. What exactly with the Zerglings? Like, you can throw Zerglings away to kill a base, but then you can't just lose them to High Templar like that. And Violet early in the game, having like this is a wide ramp, and you cannot just leave as Protoss when you have only a few units and not nearly enough units to support each other well. Like, what would be really nice is if you had a building, if you had a pylon here, and then this forge could have been one hex to the left, and then you can put your zealots and your Archon inside here, and maybe the Nexus would go down, like take a lot of damage, but at least your fighting units would be safe, and then you wouldn't just continuously be losing your entire army the entire time. Holy shit, that was a long game. But anyway, for those of you wondering, the caption for this game was, this replay was titled, let me go find the title. I'm sorry, the game audio is not on right now. The replay is, I should not have won this one. I played so poorly. I think that might be accurate. I didn't realize this was the replay. I thought it was a different one. Anyway, congratulations to Violet for winning, and against an opponent who threw the game in the metaphorical sense and threw a lot of Zerglings away in the literal sense. So yeah, that's all for this video. My name's Hyper1. This is a Diamond EU No, it's not. Is it EU? Gosh, I keep forgetting. This is a Diamond level replay sent into me on my Discord server. If you want me to cast your replay, you can join the server, or you can email me. I'll put everything in the description. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.